Donald has sworn time and time again that he'd boost American businesses and bring down costs. In fact, those two things were some of the centerpieces of his 2024 campaign. But tell that to the Canadian tourists who have stopped coming to America. 7 months into the Trump regime, tourism is tanking, the border is emptier and more hostile than ever, and tariffs are hitting the very industry, tourism, where it hurts most. Take a look.
With new tariffs set to go into effect this week, millions of Americans are bracing for impact. A recent report shows the tariffs implemented by President Trump are expected to cost the average American household an additional $2,400 this year. The prices of everyday goods, including bananas, coffee, medicines, and wine, all expected to increase. Clothing and shoes are expected to go up too. 97% of the apparel sold in the U.S. is made in Asia. And it comes as back-to-school season gets underway. The trade war also impacting small businesses like Ann's Diner in Port Huron, Michigan, which relies on a boost from Canadians crossing the bridge to eat breakfast before shopping at American malls.
I have not seen a French Canadian in here all summer, and we are a tourist town.
This has been her worst summer in 30 years.
Actually, quite a funny thing is I think I made more money during COVID than this summer.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but none of that sounds good. Prices are up. Tourism and all of the businesses that rely on tourism are down. Even Canadian citizens who used to flock across the border for back to school shopping are staying away. Why? Well, it turns out that bullying your allies, slapping on pointless, retaliatory, unilateral, unprovoked tariffs, and essentially lying about everything, plus insulting your country, isn't great for economic policy or trade relationships for that matter. Who could possibly have known except all of us? I never thought I would hear a restaurant owner of all people, say that they did better business during a global pandemic than they are doing now as a direct result of Donald's tariffs. But this is our reality. Who was president during the economic collapse that shuttered small businesses across the country back in 2020? Yeah, that was Donald Trump's fault too. But before we go on, we need to take Donald to task for harming American businesses and our allies. So please like and share this video. And if you believe in our mission, subscribe to our channel. It is not just Canadians, of course, who are avoiding the United States because of Donald's harmful policies. Thanks to Donald's nonsensical and, quite frankly, deleterious tariffs, immigration crackdowns, and the general economic mess that he's making, Americans themselves are traveling less, and other foreign visitors are avoiding visiting the United States. According to a Washington Post report published Sunday, quote, consumer spending on recreation fell 5% in June compared to the prior month, according to the Bureau of Economic Analysis data released Thursday. The number of people taking time off work in July dropped to its lowest level since the pandemic, according to Labor Department data, unquote. The only thing shocking about that is that those numbers were allowed to be released. The article goes on to say, quote, foreign arrivals to the United States by air were down 6.6% in June compared to last year, according to the International Trade Administration. International arrivals of those staying more than one night are projected to fall 8.2% in 2025, according to Tourism Economics, a global analytics and advisory firm, unquote. So basically, Donald is the worst thing to happen to summer tourism towns since the shark and Jaws. And that's really saying something. I remember that. Nobody was going to the beaches and nobody was going in the water. As we said earlier, even Canadians, some of our most loyal summer visitors, are opting out. Here's PBS with more.
Last year, 20 million Canadians visited the U.S. That's over a quarter of all the tourists who come here. But in June, car crossings to America dropped by 33%. That's the sixth consecutive month of decline. Air travel has also plummeted.
So why are Canadians staying away? Frankly, Canada should be the 51st state.
Most offensive to northern neighbors like Julie Morrison has been President Trump's rhetoric.
This threat of annexation by, this very powerful militarized ally, we took it very, very seriously. And honestly, it's frightening.
Morrison has happy memories of her many American vacations, but now she's staying home.
We don't have a lot of tools. And, tourism is one of the tools that we have.
You know things are bad when your heretofore best friends and closest allies start boycotting you. That is how toxic the relationship between Canada and America has become, thanks entirely to Donald's failed leadership. Our neighbors to the north are willing to give up their favorite summer traditions just to send a message to us. They are sick of the bullying, and they won't put up with it. And the numbers back it up. According to Forbes, the United States is on track to lose $29 billion in tourism revenue this year because of Donald's policies. And the World Travel and Tourism Council says we'll be the only country to see a drop in international spending. I'm not entirely sure how that squares with putting America first, but, what do I know? I'm not a Nazi. Of course, blue states are not the only states being hurt by all of this. Donald's own followers are starting to pay the price too. In 2 states that voted for Donald, Nevada and Florida, tourism is cratering. Thanks to Donald's policies and the state of the economy in general, Americans are spending less on travel, entertainment, and other non-essentials. Nowhere is that more obvious than Las Vegas, where the tourism drop-off is steep. Here's News Nation's report.
Tourism in Las Vegas is a multi-billion-dollar business. Last year, the economic impact was at a record high, more than $87 billion. This year, things are different.
We're seeing double-digit drops in Vegas in particular, and I think that's going to be the story of international tourism in 2025 and going into 2026.
Visitor volume, convention attendance, and hotel occupancy are all down. This is according to the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority. Clint Henderson, a travel expert with The Points Guy, says 2 major reasons for the tumbling tourism: prices and politics. In 2023 and 2024, the majority of international travelers came from Canada and Mexico. Our neighbors to the south and north are in the White House crosshairs.
President Trump has been very vocal about wanting Canada to become the 51st state. Canadians have taken umbrage at that, and so they are showing their outrage by withholding tourism dollars.
Prices and politics, and I would add, deeply misguided policy. Those are the things that are sinking small American businesses. Donald has spent years claiming that he was the one who was going to lower costs. But not only has that not happened, his political choices are making things worse. This is not just Vegas. Again, one of Donald's favorite places, Florida, his new home, where many of his most loyal supporters, sycophants, and followers live, is also hurting. Florida is already seeing fewer Canadian visitors, in large part due to Donald's anti-immigration policies and Florida's willingness to follow the Trump regime's lead. Visit Lauderdale CEO Stacey Ritter says Canadian tourism is down about 20% in the Fort Lauderdale area. Considering the Canadians account for 28% of Florida's international tourism, that is a potentially devastating drop-off. And according to the Tallahassee Democrat, the outlook is not improving. Bookings 6 to 12 months out are also slowing. So, for a man who claims to be lowering costs and reviving American businesses, the numbers, the data, and the states that backed him are telling a very, very different story. So, Donald, I have a suggestion for you. Either learn something about economic policy and change course and start doing the right thing. Yeah, I know. What am I kidding? Of course, that's not going to happen. Fire the data, people, so nobody ever knows what's actually going on. Please take a second and like and share this video. It'd be awesome if you could subscribe to the channel. If you're listening to us in podcast form, please follow us and give the show a 5-star rating because it really does help other people find our content. Thanks.